This may be funny to some of you, but did you ever find your doctor's handwritten prescription impossible to read and often wondered why doctors have such extraordinarily difficult handwriting? Well, the Orissa High Court had that same problem and seems to have decided to enforce a solution. It's directed the Chief Secretary to issue directions to all doctors of the state to write medical prescriptions, post-mortem reports, and all other medico-legal documents either in capital letters or in legible handwriting. In his order, Justice Sanjeev Kumar Panigrahi observed, and I quote, "In many cases, the casual approach of most of the doctors while writing the post-mortem report is affecting the comprehension medico-legal documents badly, and the judicial system finds it very difficult to read those letters and come to a definite conclusion." Joining me this evening on just why doctors have such handwriting, or is it just a stereotype, Dr. Rajesh Parikh, Director Medical Research of the Jaslok Hospital in Mumbai. Dr. Parikh, is it just some doctors who have a bad handwriting, or is it just a stereotype? You think you'd like to defend doctors now and their handwriting?
Well, yes, to an extent, Viragam, of course, I'd like to defend doctors. But, this is just one of those instances where a situation is simultaneously frivolous and yet quite serious. On the lighter side, given the Orissa High Court's order of using uppercase letters, some doctors might literally perceive this as capital punishment. It brings to mind a cartoon I came across over 3 decades ago, in which you have a pretty young thing going to a chemist shop and handing over to the pharmacist the most intimate romantic letters written by her fiancé, and telling him that perhaps you're the only person who can read out this letter to me. I can't understand what he's saying. On the slightly more serious side, it can result in wrong prescriptions and very, very confused patients and relatives.
But is it time, you think, we moved beyond just handwriting itself? Should handwriting even be an issue in this day and age when I think we're only going to be looking at printed prescriptions?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But, that might be a while away in some places. It may be close at hand in other hospitals, such as ours in Mumbai, for example. But until that happens, we need to understand that handwriting deteriorates progressively in many of us. Very few of us on joining medical school have handwriting which is illegible. But, given the huge volume of reading, thousands of pages literally, that we need to do every year, the copious notes one needs to make, and the speed at which they have to be made, there is a deterioration in handwriting. And so, of course, it is a responsibility of those of us in the medical profession to have clearer handwriting, if not in capital letters. And even more important, to communicate very clearly to those who have entrusted their health in our hands that this is the medicine you'll be taking, this is the generic name, and this is the trade name. Because, trade names are marketing strategies. They often sound nice and are fairly, close in their pronunciation. But the generic names are always unique. So I think doctors can do that. But as you pointed out, yes, we are close now to a time when handwritten prescriptions would be redundant, and the kind of stories and judgments we are seeing might actually appear antiquated.
I don't know. As far as journalists are concerned, I don't know if anyone's even using handwritings anymore. They're all just typing their time away in journalism. But quickly, just curious now, since we are having this conversation and we have about a minute left, do doctors also find it difficult to read other doctors' handwritings? Do you have cases where you've got to call the doctor to find out what you've written in a prescription?
Yes. That happens sometimes, and it sometimes goes a step further. And I must tell you, I've been guilty of it on a couple of occasions where we find it difficult to even understand our own handwriting of years ago.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I think there's some relationship between doctors and chemists. They seem to be the only ones who are completely confident of what a doctor writes.
Oh, absolutely. The chemists just train themselves, and partly through intuition, which is not always the most reliable of skills while dispensing medication, and partly by knowing that the actual permutations of medication are fairly limited, they can often figure out what a doctor wants to say.
So maybe we should tell the Odisha High Court judge to have a chemist by his side to read the next prescription that's going to come his way while he's deciding a case. But that's all we have time for, Doctor. Thanks so much for joining us and being honest about your own handwriting there.